So last weekend I completed my first 72-hour dry fast. That was definitely my longest dry fast that I've done. Uh, During the last video I made about that, sort of the benefits that I'd experienced, I didn't really talk about some other things that I realized were occurring in the days after the fast. So these are sort of some of the more mental and emotional benefits that I only noticed in the few days after, and they seem to be lasting. It's been about a week now or so. So I wanted to talk about those, and I wanted to go a bit more into detail about what happened during it in sort of a mental and emotional way, and then what I'm experiencing now from that. So during the fast, it was definitely one of my most difficult experiences of my life, especially the second night. So 72 hours is 3 days, 2 nights. And on that second night, I just crashed. I just completely lost all energy, and I lost the ability to focus on anything as well, in terms of anything outside myself. So I couldn't do the usual thing. If I was to escape something, normally I would, focus on a goal or create something, learn something, entertain myself, watch something, all those types of things that you can do. But in this case, I was just lying on my bed. I had zero energy to do anything except just lie there. My heart was racing. I couldn't sleep, and I was just lying there with no energy. It got to the point I had so little energy that I couldn't even muster up the energy to turn around and change my position. I remember getting messages on Facebook that I just couldn't muster up the energy to even respond to. It was really overwhelming, and I wasn't expecting that at all. And what was happening was, the whole time, this was at about 48 to about 60 or more hours, 48 to about 65 hours, I think, into the whole thing. And I was just being hit with all these different thoughts and urges and obsessions. So just thoughts of, obviously drinking water and eating food was coming up constantly. My mind constantly trying to convince me, or to rationalize ways that I could break the fast. So, just trying to convince me, just trying to find ways that I could get out of having to do it. It's almost like a survival mechanism, that's kind of coming from my animal self, trying to manipulate my thoughts to convince me in a logical way that I need to eat, because it wants to eat, it wants to survive. But yeah, and also just thoughts of drinking water. I mean, eating food is very easy, and it's so cheap that it's practically free. But drinking water is even more easy. It's one of the most easy things we can possibly do. And so many times I was just so tempted just to drink some water, or just to eat some food. And it was just that I just wasn't able to avoid it. I couldn't escape all these emotions and urges, because I just didn't have the energy to do it. I couldn't even, entertain myself to forget about it. So it was like it was just my will against all these emotions and thoughts. They were the only two things that I had. And the will itself was, I mean, what I found motivated me the most was accountability. So I had told a few people that I was doing the 72-hour dry fast. So I was accountable to a few people. And the sense of also, I guess, making these videos, I have kind of a sense that they might help someone one day, or, motivate someone or whatever. So that sense of wanting to complete something because it helps other people, and because I'm accountable to other people, was the strongest motivation. So I just essentially kept focusing on that. Also, part of it was obviously the health part of it, but it was actually one of the least motivating things in the moment, because health is such an abstract thing. I mean, accountability to another person is very, very a very concrete thing. It's, you want to make sure that something is done. But with health, it's such an abstract thing, and you're feeling so shitty in the moment that health is just not something that you can really consider. So it wasn't really the most motivating thing. You think it would be, but it just didn't really help me at the time. The fact that I was doing the whole thing for health. And the other, the other aspects of it were, um, yeah. So we had the accountability, we had the health motivations. The other part of it was just holding on. Just yeah. Essentially, I can't think of another way to explain it, but I was just holding on. Part of the difficulty was that time slows down. Ketosis, I find in general, slows down time, but this was even worse. It felt like time was just never ending, and every moment was just 1,000 years. I guess it could sound like I'm dramatizing this a bit, but in the moment, that's definitely what it sounded like. So, it just felt like it kept going on forever, and it was just me sitting there, my will against everything else, just dealing with it, just holding on and going for it. Um, Also, yeah, I guess the self-development aspects to it as well. I remember thinking about just the idea of just suffering to make yourself better. I've been listening to the David Goggins audio book lately, and I've listened to a couple of his podcasts with Joe Rogan, and yeah, he has a big philosophy about that, and I was thinking about that a fair bit, which is the whole suffering. The only way to really become better or to become successful is to suffer. Put yourself through suffering and fear until you gain the experience. So that's what I was thinking about as well. I just had to suffer for the experience. You've just got to suffer to get better. If you're sick and unhealthy and fat and depressed, you've just got to go through a ton of suffering to get to the other side, which is health and happiness. So, um, so I did. The next day was a lot easier. That was the last day. I don't know why. I have heard that because I did fall asleep for a few hours, and I have heard that your body, um, uh, metabolizes fat and some electrolytes as well, which does make you feel a lot better for the next day. So it does that while you're sleeping, and then during the day you feel better, and then maybe at night it gets worse again. So I guess that's possible. But after I broke the fast, I did notice something was different, but I wasn't really conscious of it until a few days after, when I was at work. Um, I noticed that the main thing I noticed is that I don't really care as much what other people think. Um, I don't know why all this stuff is happening. I don't really care about why. I'm more interested in what happened, and then what the results were, or how we can do it again. Um, I guess it's something to do with either being through such a difficult situation and not giving up, maybe changed something, or fixed something, healed something, overcame something, or whatever, released some kind of trapped emotions. But yeah, so I noticed pretty obviously that I didn't really care as much what other people think, as well as at times I do seem more present, more able to, I guess, manipulate my focus or consciousness on what I need to do, or where I need to focus, rather than being drawn away from thoughts and emotions and distractions so much. I do feel more comfortable, I guess, present, and just just yeah, just comfortable in uh, being inside myself, I guess you could say. And it's definitely a noticeable difference. So I'm going to be dry fasting again for sure. I'll push for 5 days next time, but to do it, I definitely need to gain a fair bit of weight, because that one did consume a lot of my body fat, and I'm still recovering a bit from it. So I look forward to my next one. I might even try. I'm going to be trying maybe a 7-day water fast end of next month. Definitely salt water fast. And I'll push for a 5-day dry fast as well, and I'm excited to see what benefits the next one does provide. Thanks, guys.